And I'm like,
Really?
what? He's like, dude, my team does it all, and that's the key to making $100 million. And I was like,
Honestly, man, like
mm,
what you notice, and I actually saw someone post something like this in the Facebook group for ClickFunnels, and it just resonated so hardcore. The people that are doing everything themselves, that are stressed out, are the ones that are barely scraping by.
yeah, yeah,
And as you can see, the people on stage that are doing the 2 comma club X, the 50 million, the 75 million, the 100 million, the farther up the ladder you go, the more removed these people are,
well,
because they understand the power of leverage,
yeah,
and they understand the power of using other people's time. So if you were to actually ask me, hey, Joel, how do you make the most out of Funnel Hacking Live and absorb all the information? What I should have done is brought my team and told them to go listen to everything and figure out a way to implement one thing from every single speaker into our business.
yeah, no kidding.
Because there's absolutely no way that you could go and sit through every single speaker and implement everything.
Right.
Your brain cannot computate that.
Yeah.
But guess what would happen if you had 10 people there learning on your behalf?
Yeah. And they each learned the thing that they were good at. They were focused on the thing that they were doing. Yeah.
So leverage, that's the key to scaling. Do you see Jeff Bezos writing code now for Amazon?
Why do people have such a hard time with that though, bro? Like, because, okay, so let me tell you this. My big issue was I was like, nobody can do it as good as I can. Why do some people have such a hard time letting go?
Okay, that's a great question. I would say that they don't trust themselves, and therefore they can't trust others. I know that's pretty deep, but if you really trusted your process, your strategy, your vision, your decision making, you would have no problem letting go and passing it off to someone else. And I think that lack of trust in yourself and your own abilities to succeed and execute make you want to just grab everything and take full control. I think that's one thing. And over time, for example, I'm a perfect example here, because when I started my agency, it was extremely difficult for me to let go. It was extremely difficult for me to delegate. And I was honestly stressed out all the time.
Yeah.
And I was burnt out. Like I remember days where I would wake up like 8:30 a.m., get breakfast, then go up to my home office and work till I went to sleep.
Yep. Oh, I've been there.
Yeah. And I think it wasn't until I just started to trust myself and the process and what we were building, and that everything was going to be okay if I let go.
Yeah.
That I started to actually delegate and allow myself to leverage the power of leverage.
Yeah. And one of the interesting things about this, I was talking to Brad Gibb about this. He called me like 2 or 3 days ago. And I was like, how are you, dude? He's like, dude, I'm doing all right. How are you? I was like, I'm great. And he said, I just went through the most painstaking day ever. And I was like, oh boy, what happened? He's like, we sat down with our team, and he's like,
he was like, Joel DM'd me like 8 times. That's why it was so painstaking. Because Joel, yo, Brad, if you're listening right now, I'm trying to get a hold of you, man. I want to give you money.
I'll connect you guys. I know how to get a hold of Brad. I talk to him all the time. And I saw your message, dude. I'm so bad at Facebook messages. It's so terrible. So is Brad. Voxer. That's how you get a hold of me. But I was talking to him, and he said he just went through with his team, and they dumbed down all of their processes, and they're going through, and because they want to be able to bring in more coaches. They're scaling fast, right? They won the $10 million a year award, and now they're scaling more and more. And so he's like, we're having to bring on coaches, and he's like, we don't have time to train them. And so he's like, what we're doing is we're literally going down, and they had somebody come in and question, literally, they would walk them through the process, and they questioned every single step. So they're like, oh, why did you decide to do that? Why did you decide to do that? Oh, why is that one there? Oh, how would we do this? And he's like, the whole entire day, and we got like 3 hours worth of work done, even though we were at it the entire day. And I was like, that sounds painful. He's like, yeah, but when it's all said and done, he's like, now we're going to have the system and process down in such a way that I can remove myself from it. And he's like, and most people, and he said this, and hit me like a ton of bricks. And I was like, this is the problem with most people. He's like, most people aren't willing to go through that painstaking process of figuring out all the holes in their thing because they think that they're the only ones that would ever be able to figure it out and understand it. And he's like, when I just finally went and did it, he's like, it's going to be so freaking good when it's all said and done. And I was like, boom, right then and there. That's how you go and are able to remove yourself from the process. But most people just aren't willing to do the work.
Definitely. Like, for example, let's say that I hire an account manager, right?
Yeah.
And they cost me $3,000 to $5,000 a month.
Yeah.
Most people are freaking out being like, oh my God, that's a huge amount of money. I can't delegate that. But if you trusted in your ability to close more deals because you outsourced that task and now freed your time, then you would be totally willing to hire an account manager and go into the red, maybe even so, because you would eventually have the time to go and sell more.
Yeah.
But I think that lack of trusting in yourself and what you're doing is what ultimately prevents you deep down psychologically.
Yeah.
So for example, it's like right now we're scaling new agencies and we're building the entire team and delegating it all out right from the start. We have an account manager, we have a marketing manager, we have a closer, and we have one VA. And we're essentially
to do everything or to do this new agency?
Every time we're essentially launching, our goal is to launch a new agency every 120 days, every 4 months. And we're going to obviously oversee that team, but they're going to be doing the day-to-day. Now, a lot of people would have a very hard time letting go of all those things because what if it doesn't work? Now they're in the red. Now it's like, oh my God, I've lost a lot of money, which ultimately comes down to not trusting yourself and what you're doing and trusting the process.
Yeah.
But if you truly trusted the power of what you're building, then you would have no problem going into the red, hiring these people, knowing that in 60 or 90 days, it's going to turn into a profitable cash cow.
Yeah.